I'm Rocket with Wreckless Blenders. Welcome to Musings from Rocket Cellar. How you doing today? I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Hey, I did want to talk a little bit about a couple of things that Miss Rocket and I did recently. I thought you might find it fun. Miss Rocket, Lisa, has a friend from high school that lives in the area, and we went wine tasting with her at a place called Dart Wines, D''ART Wines. And Dave Dart, his last name is Dart, hence the play, and he's done printing and graphic arts for most of his life. Started this winery, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, and he's really made a go out of it, and it's just a fantastic winery to visit. And we had such a good time, and shout out to Dave for what you did with us and showed us around and hanging out in the equipment room and seeing the processing. It was wonderful. And the funny thing about this is Lodi as a destination wasn't a destination. In fact, you know, we kind of made fun of it for a long time because it's a great growing region, but the wineries tended to be bulk wine style. And Dave and several other wineries there in that area have definitely transformed that into something that is a legit wine destination. And so it's been fantastic to see that growth and that transformation. And it's got some really interesting characteristics. One of the cool things about it is it's hot during the day and it cools off with a delta breeze at night. And when it cools off, the skins thicken. And so that's part of the reason you get some pretty intense fruit out there. Now, the thing about hot grapes, they tend to be kind of jammier and more, you know, that big jammy zin. It's, you know, kind of what Lodi was known for a long time. Kind of dumb and, you know, not very interesting. One note, if you will. And that's changed, right? They've found different varietals. They've worked with the soil. They've worked with the clones, the different types of grapes, and it's been it's a wonderful transformation. So just highly recommend checking out. If you get out to Lodi Way, check out Dart Wines. Tell them the Wreckless Blenders sent you. If you want to say Rocket or if you want to say JT, you could say any of us. You know, it's interesting because the other part of the equation here is Dave and JT and the Wreckless, and what we were called the Fat Cats at the time, we were all at the Sacramento Home Winemakers Association at the same time coming up. And there was a lot of knowledge transfer that happened there. Harvest update. We've picked up Fiano, we've picked up Sacramento. We're now going to be doing Primitivo and Barbera this coming weekend, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Andy and Elizabeth up there at Shaker Ridge, just fantastic growers. Great to have wonderful partnership. We're going to pick up Cabernet Franc this year. I am super excited about this. We decided to not do a Merlot this year. We decided to do a Cabernet Franc instead. So the same grower that provides us the Fiano does a Cabernet Franc, and we're going to get a ton of that. Yeah, okay. It's one of my favorite grapes. You say that to all the grapes. Yeah, I do. Cabernet Franc holds a special spot in my heart, partly because of the label. That label is something else. And partly because it is such a wonderful expression of these different methods of making it, right? So with the Cabernet Franc, you can have this kind of mineral-laden, I think of like, you know, rain on hot concrete, and you get this really beautiful mineral burst in some of them, and others you get this heady green vegetable in a positive way, you know, asparagus and these really green bell peppers and these just wonderful flavors, and then you get the combination in between. Not quite as versatile is a word that you could use to describe Merlot or Pinot, right? And versatile is a nice way to say that it doesn't know what it is. Pinots, a lot of Pinots, especially if you have good Pinot winemakers, you can definitely tell. So Bouchain in Carneros, and I've talked about Bouchain before, a fantastic location. They do a really great job with their Pinots because they actually concentrate on the different clones of Pinots as they make the wine, and the winemaker there, she keeps things separate all the way to the very end. So she has a nice understanding of what is going on between each of the Pinots. She's got the luxury and she got the support to do that. The thing about Pinot grapes is it's one that it branches in its, you identify these different clones. There's like, 1,000 clones or something ridiculous like that. And what a clone is it's a divergence from something else. And Pinot as a grape itself is one of the most divergent grapes out there. So that's why it's got so many different clones and styles. And that's probably why Pinot is such an elusive actor in the variety spectrum, right? It can be this, it can be that, it can be light and elegant and crisp, and it can be, as big as a cab and, as jammy as a Zin, right? It's got all these things, and you've got all these factors you have to think about when you're making this. You've got the soil, you've got the weather, right? The growing conditions. Which clone goes well with the situation you're in? Anyway, I've wandered over here into clone territory, and some people are going, what are you talking about? Well, a grape that is different enough than the previous one, it becomes a clone. And they legitimize that, and they document it, and then they graft those out, and you're able to pick up grafts and plant them onto your vines and go from there. Yeah, I'm probably mangling some parts of that, right? Some of the scientists out there, definitely the plant pathologists and plant people out there are double teacupping at me. Let's move on from that and come back to Cabernet Franc. I like all varieties of Cabernet Franc, and I think where I started on this was you could have a Merlot and a Cabernet and a Zin, and maybe you can pick out the Zin because of certain strawberry and jammy qualities. And the Cab you could probably pick up because it's either got eucalyptus or, black currant, or it's bold, but the Merlot is elusive. It lost its identity, right? And if you've come out to the winery or you've been at one of the Wreckless Wine Days, you'll hear me talk about our Merlot. And one of the things I said that we pinky swore is the only time we're going to put Merlot on the label is if we think it's an FIA Merlot. If it does not meet that standard, if it's meh, then we're going to use it as a blender to bolster things, to create, help fill in the middle, help fill in the edges, do some other things like that. This happens every so often where we have a varietal that just decides, I'm not ready, and we have to make a call. There's the financial call. Well, we got to keep the ship afloat. There's the physical call, which is, you only have so much room. And then there's the quality call, which is, we're not going to put something out there that we don't stand behind. Wreckless Wine Days this Saturday is Concord. Come out, check it out. So first Saturday of the month, come out to Concord, my place. We'll hang out, try some wines. It's a great group of people. And if you're watching this and you're in the Sacramento area, of course, that's the last Saturday of the month. And this upcoming one in September in Carmichael is going to be a big event. So assuming everything else goes the way it's supposed to go, we'll be in the backyard, it'll be in the outdoors, and we'll have some good food, and it'll just be a great time to hang out. Fingers crossed that the stars align, and we can do that and be safe about it. We won't be inside at all, right? So we'll probably have us out front of the winery, we'll have a station set up for you to purchase and pick up your wine, and then you'll go into the backyard, and that's where we'll be. We'll stay out of being in the indoors. That way we just avoid all that mess. Right, with that, I'm Rocket from Wreckless Blenders. This has been another Musings from Rocket Cellar. I'm going to check this out. So I've changed the format around this, the equipment that's recording this. So I've been shuffling some things around, trying to make it a little simpler to sit down, do this, and start recording. So we'll see if I can do that. For a little while, it was a lot of extra effort just to get the things going, and then a lot of extra after time to figure it out. And as a result, I was doing fewer of these, and it was just because it was a heavy lift. So I've simplified, and I've added some automation and did some other things, and we'll see how we do. And if they work, then we'll keep going. I'll probably keep the cat in on this one because, you know, that was fun having the cat here. That's Hobbes, by the way. Hobbes, the winery cat.